You know, every so often, something comes along that makes you question the very fabric of logic and reason, like seeing a vegan enthusiastically recommending a steakhouse, or a fish campaigning for improved fishing techniques. Enter the Queers for Palestine, a group of LGBTQ activists passionately advocating for a region and, let's face it, a religion where their very existence is not just unacknowledged, but actively persecuted. As an ex-Muslim who has had to navigate leaving the religion after being born into a Muslim nation, I can't help but marvel at the sheer irony. Chickens for KFC, as they say. But recently, something rather funny happened to this group. A US organization, the New Tolerance Campaign, offered a generous $1 million to fund a pride parade in Gaza or the West Bank. We're talking floats adorned with rainbows, banners proclaiming love and acceptance, glitter cascading like waterfalls, the full pride experience. I mean, since October 7, this group has made the Palestinian territories and even other Muslim nations in the region to be a gay-loving paradise. So, in my opinion, they should absolutely take up on the offer. Well, unless there's a problem. And what might that problem be? What facts reveal themselves once you move beyond the cognitive dissonance, stop drinking the activist Kool-Aid, and open your eyes to the harsh realities of the world? In places like Gaza and the West Bank, identifying openly as LGBT isn't just socially unacceptable, it's illegal and punishable by imprisonment, or, in many cases, a one-way trip to Allah. According to Equaldex, an organization that compiles data on LGBTQ rights worldwide, Palestine scores a dismal 22 out of 100 on the Equality Index. To put that into perspective, the United States scored 71. In Palestine, public opinion on LGBTQ issues scores a mere 6 out of 100. 6. That means that for every 100 people, only 6 might not openly oppose LGBTQ rights. Yet, Queers for Palestine seems undeterred by these statistics. They describe themselves as queers committed to the struggle for a just world, free of settler colonialism, Zionism, and capitalism. I'm sorry, but what? Another thing that really gets to me is the name itself, Queers for Palestine. By using this as their name, they're centering the movement around their own identity, making it about themselves rather than the cause they claim to support. Where's the focus? The queer part or the Palestine part? I can't help but feel this is part of attention-seeking behavior. Are there any other similar groups for Palestine that are so prominent? Plumbers for Palestine? Elden Ring players for Palestine? Megan Fox fans for Palestine? This self-referential approach really does come across as self-serving and insincere. It raises the question, are they truly advocating for Palestinian rights, or are they projecting their own agenda onto a complex, 1,000-year-old geopolitical issue? Yes, it really is that old. If you want to learn more, you can check out a video I made on this topic right here. When you make the fight about yourself, especially in a context where your identity is not recognized or accepted, it undermines the very cause you're trying to support. It shifts the focus from the actual issues faced by Palestinians to a narrative that centers on Western perspectives and experiences. It's like parachuting into someone else's battle with a flag bearing your own name, expecting applause while ignoring the realities on the ground.
We don't support them and would never accept their actions, the degenerates, occupiers of Jahannam. And this is well understood in our religion. We don't need their solidarity, we don't need their support. So if you see them at a protest, tell them the FO. I personally much rather a Zionist bomb falling on my head me than having support and solidarity by a bunch of degenerates, occupiers of Jahannam.
Now, how about we let this fine Islamic gentleman tell you what they really think of the group?
But there's going to be sins in protest. You'll be sitting next to a guy who's going to go and penetrate and sodomize another guy tonight. And you're gonna expect Allah to give you victory because you're standing next to a guy who's gonna literally insert his genitals into another man's back passage. Does that make sense? And these are the guys who have called for it. If you feel like that's where victory is gonna come from, well, okay, I'm not even here to debate you on that.
Speaking of tricks, I too am on one towards 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So, if you're enjoying this video so far, please hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. In Gaza, governed by Hamas, laws are strictly based on Sharia or Islamic law. Same-sex relationships are illegal, and the penalties can range from imprisonment to, in extreme cases, being sent to Allah. Public floggings and people taking matters into their own hands, while not officially sanctioned, occur with alarming frequency and are often overlooked by authorities. In the West Bank, under the Palestinian Authority, the situation is slightly less severe but still far from accepting. While there aren't explicit laws criminalizing homosexuality, societal attitudes are overwhelmingly negative. LGBTQ individuals often face harassment, violence, and social ostracism. Many are forced to lead double lives or flee to countries where they can live openly. One of them, ironically, being Israel. As someone who has lived under similar societal norms, I can attest to the suffocating atmosphere. I've had gay friends who have had to flee to other countries after being found out. Not a single one can openly be themselves where I was originally from. The $1 million offer highlights the stark contrast between the freedoms enjoyed in some societies versus the oppression in others. It's a challenge to organizations like Queers for Palestine to confront the uncomfortable realities of the regions they support. If advocating for LGBTQ rights in Palestine is dismissed as pinkwashing, then what do we call ignoring the persecution of LGBTQ individuals in those same regions? Selective activism? Cognitive dissonance? Or perhaps willful ignorance? I'm convinced it's the latter. Consider this. In 2019, the Palestinian Authority banned the activities of Al-Qaus, a Palestinian LGBTQ organization, and threatened to arrest its members. Hamas, the governing body in Gaza, has openly condemned LGBTQ rights as a form of moral decay. Yet, Queers for Palestine continues to focus its efforts on criticizing Israel, the one country in the Middle East where pride parades actually occur, and where LGBTQ individuals have legal protections and a community. While Israel is not without its flaws and controversies, particularly regarding its policies towards Palestinians, it remains a relative haven for LGBTQ rights in the region. To say Israel is the same as Palestine in this case is like criticizing the lifeboat for not being a yacht, while ignoring the fact that the ship is sinking. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the treatment of LGBTQ individuals in Islamic countries. It's a topic that's often sidestepped to avoid offending cultural sensitivities, but if you're going to have an honest conversation, it needs to be on the table. In many Islamic countries, homosexuality is considered a sin and a crime. Laws are based on interpretations of Sharia, and penalties can be severe. In countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, same-sex acts are punishable by a one-way ticket to Allah. In fact, have a look at this map where LGBTQ people face capital punishment. Now, notice what they all have in common. In others, such as Egypt and Malaysia, LGBTQ individuals face imprisonment, fines, and public lashings. People are arrested, tried, and punished regularly. The fear is very real, and the consequences are dire. I did a more in-depth video on this topic, which you can check out here. When I see groups like Queers for Palestine advocating for regions where such oppression is not only prevalent but institutionalized, it boggles the mind. Their passion is commendable, but their focus seems misguided. It's like passionately defending a wolf that's eyeing you as its next meal. Of course, it's essential to support human rights and to stand against oppression wherever it occurs. But effective activism requires acknowledging uncomfortable truths and addressing them head-on. Ignoring the systematic persecution of LGBTQ individuals in Palestine and other Islamic countries does a disservice to those who are suffering. Perhaps the issue lies in the oversimplification of complex geopolitical situations. It's easier to frame things in black and white, oppressor and oppressed, without looking into the nuances. But reality is rarely that simple. Let's not forget that solidarity should be grounded in reality. Waving a flag or holding a sign is easy in a country where freedom of expression is protected. But in places like Gaza or the West Bank, such actions could lead to severe consequences. As expected, Queers for Palestine has not responded to the $1 million offer. The silence is telling. It highlights the disconnect between rhetoric and the reality. Perhaps it is time for a paradigm shift in activism. Instead of aligning with regions or groups based solely on political ideology, we should focus on universal human rights. This means acknowledging and addressing the oppression of LGBTQ individuals in Palestine and other Islamic countries, even if it's uncomfortable. But cultural relativity, intersectionality, and other left-wing ideas really hinder this dialogue. Many on that side of the aisle, including the Queers for Palestine group, cannot have a nuanced conversation on this topic without immediately hurling accusations of Islamophobia or racism. True progress isn't achieved by ignoring reality, it's achieved by facing it head on, no matter how challenging it may be. If you enjoyed the video, why not check out similar videos on my channel? I talk about history, contemporary politics, and my experiences as an ex-Muslim. And please consider becoming a subscriber and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, I appreciate your support and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.